Hey everyone, this is Ibezing again. Today I'm drinking a fun tea, which I've already had a couple of times, which is the Gaoshan Ye Sheng 2021 from Linsang. And these are the beautiful leaves. And it's a tea sold by L'Autre Thé, which is a tea company that I think originated in France but is also active in Belgium. And they sell a couple of Shongpoors, so not an enormous stock they have, but yeah, a couple of cakes and some loose pours. Now I'll show you the rinse. But the thing that is interesting about this tea is how much it reminded me of the Y2T Snoozefest. And it's really something that I haven't encountered with any other cakes. Sorry for the cut there. So as I was saying, it's not really something I have encountered with many other cakes. The thing about this tea is that it heavily reminds me of strawberries, and that's something weird to say. But it's a typical note I also get with the Snoozefest, and probably that's what prompted me to think about Snoozefest when drinking this cake. So very intense, strawberry, banana also, and perhaps some other tropical fruit in there as well. Very interesting, to be honest. And that seems to be the general profile of this tea as well. So very aromatic, very flavorful, but not that much in terms of chachi or huigan, though it is there. But yeah, it's just a pleasant young shongpoor to have around, to have in the stash, and to drink casually when you don't know what to reach for. So this is the color, which isn't very dark, after only 5 years of maturation. The thing about this tea as well is I have no clue what the storage conditions on this tea were before mine. So it just sat in the shop in the dry, open Belgian air, which is relatively dry. So no idea about previous storage. It doesn't have any off notes. It also doesn't have any strange storage notes or anything like that. So I think it was just bought, pressed, and then shipped to Belgium or France. Don't really know about that. But one thing I'd like to also say about the why it reminds me of Snoozefest is the aftertaste. The typical scent you get in the leaves, in the wet leaves, that's also something that returns in the aftertaste. And the aftertaste is more intense, more strong or stronger than with the Snoozefest. So I always jokingly say this is like Snoozefest on steroids. It's almost twice the price, so it is quite a bit more expensive, but I think it's very fairly priced, to be honest. I might actually pick up a cake or two more of this tea, so I'll have a first sip. Yeah, so decently thick. The bitterness is still very present, but there's definite sweetness and also some astringency. But it's like with some young pours, you can get a very how should I say this, separated taste. So the bitterness is definitely separated from the sweetness is definitely separated from the astringency, and the astringency as well from the bitterness. With aged pours, or most aged pours, those tastes have melded together. So that means that you pick up the sweetness, but the sweetness has like this bitter aspect. It's not really bitter anymore. It has a certain aspect, and it has an astringent aspect to it, but it's not really astringent anymore. And this tea already falls somewhere in between, definitely weighing more towards the young side, of course. But some of that bitterness, some of that astringency seems like it's already being integrated into the sweetness of the tea, which is, it's nice. But I think that's what they mean when they say that pu'er can go through an awkward phase. I think it's a bit this kind of thing where it starts to melt together, but it's not really getting there yet. So you can taste all different aspects. And I think for me, the key thing about this tea is its aftertaste. It's just so nice to have a couple of sips of this tea and then, for example, go on doing chores or other tasks, or just during work, to have that nice lingering fruity floral aftertaste in your mouth. Like I said, not really something to drink if you want a deep chachi experience or a meditative experience. It's just a nice, flavorful young Sheng pu'er, and I wish some of the other teas would have this aspect more. I think it's very nice to have a Sheng pu'er which has a really nice, deep chachi experience, or has a really thick, very flavorful, brothy mouthfeel. But like that scent, perhaps that's something. That's something I like, I should say. Yeah. And I think, for example, Y2T does a nice thing with its blends where they aim, what it seems like is they aim for like a very well-rounded tea where you already get some of that aged, very nicely melded aspect of the tea. And then it seems like he just throws some younger stuff in the mix to have a very fragrant, a very flavorful cup of tea as well, which is very interesting. So I think for me personally, I think I like blends more as of right now than single origin tea. For example, I also have been drinking those jingmai and those Lauman cakes from Former Leaf, and they're fine, they're nice, they have a nice huigan, they give a nice kick, they have a nice relaxing body feel. But sometimes I just really don't want to reach for something like that. Sometimes I just want something flavorful to throw in my cup and drink during the evening, for example. And I think this is the better pick for it. It is cheaper as well, so yeah, I think I really will pick up a couple of more cakes of this and put it in my stash, and yeah, I think I will go through them quite quickly. So I think I will leave it at that. There is not really much to talk about in terms of body feel, so I won't do middle steeps or last steeps. So yeah, it's just a very nice, well-rounded tea that I would drink with anyone that wants to experience a flavorful cup of pu'er tea. So if you have any recommendations about other kinds of teas that fit this bill, or you want to see more types of videos from more unknown vendors or more local vendors, please be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and leave a comment below what your experiences with other teas are, or what you think about this. So have a nice day, and cheers.